10 signs you are drinking too much alcohol. There is nothing wrong with having an occasional glass of wine during dinner or buying a couple of cocktails at a bar during happy hour, isn't there? The answer to this question might not be so uplifting. In fact, even occasional drinking might be the first symptom of a drinking problem that, if not dealt with correctly and quickly, will lead to other problems and hugely and negatively affect your life, as well as the lives of everyone close to you. However, if treated, alcoholism can be taken under control. There is a very thin line between an acceptable amount of alcohol and drinking too much. Sometimes it can be very difficult to realize when you are crossing it, and even more difficult to stop. To know whether you or someone you know is overdoing it, read on for 10 signs you are drinking too much alcohol. 1. You can't have a good time without alcohol. Having a good time is one of the reasons why people drink in the first place, so it is perfectly normal to have a drink at a party or during a meal. You need to start worrying if you notice that it seems impossible for you to have fun without being drunk. Ask yourself, are there activities that you have enjoyed before while being sober but you do not enjoy anymore unless you are drunk? Do you ever find yourself thinking that a night out was a complete disaster because you did not drink a lot? If you answer positively, this is the first sign that you might have a problem. 2. Alcohol makes you take risky decisions. You have probably seen people change drastically when they have had a few drinks. The most innocent example is your normally very shy co-worker dancing on the table at a bar, surrounded by people who would never expect them to do something like that. Unfortunately, drinking can lead to something much more serious. You can hurt yourself because someone dares you to do something crazy and you are too drunk to refuse, or generally get yourself into a lot of trouble. According to the statistics provided by the National Institute on Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism, about 40% of fatal car accidents and falls, as well as 50% of sexual assaults, are caused by drinking too much. 3. That you remember nothing about the following morning. It is a beautiful Saturday morning, the sun is shining, the birds are singing, but you can't even enjoy it because you have a terrible headache and you have no idea what has happened the previous night. Does this scenario sound familiar? If it does, you might have a drinking problem. Even though alcohol affects everyone differently due to genetical factors, one thing is true almost all the time, and it is that drinking too much has an impact on glutamate. This is the receptor of your brain that is responsible for your memory. So, if you wake up and do not remember how last night went or how you got home, you have certainly drunk too much. 4. You choose alcohol over responsibilities. Alcohol can be a part of your life without creating any problems only as long as it is not your top priority. When it starts interfering with your normal life and making you neglect other things, most probably more important than alcohol, you are entering dangerous territory. You might be an amazing and loving parent but you miss a PTA meeting or your child's baseball match because you go to a bar. Or, you sign up for a class that you are very interested in but you skip the Monday morning lesson because you still are hungover from last night. These are just 2 examples of how alcohol can replace something you care for and create a problem. 5. You develop a high tolerance for alcohol. You may naturally have a high tolerance and still feel completely normal, even though all your friends who have had the same amount of alcohol are clearly drunk. However, noticing that your tolerance has significantly increased from the time when you started drinking is not such a good thing. The reason why you do not get drunk as easily is that your brain is getting used to the drug. In general, your body is quickly adapting to your habits. As a result, every time you go out, you need to drink more because an amount of alcohol that used to make you drunk previously does not have the same effect on you anymore. Thus, you risk becoming a chronic and problematic drinker who always wants more and more alcohol. 6. It is difficult for you to stop. Imagine that your friends invite you to a bar and you decide to go and have 2 cocktails. But when you arrive, 2 cocktails suddenly become 3, 4, or even more. One of the signs that you are drinking more than you should is that you do not know your limits, and this is why it is so easy for you to pass them. One thing you can do to help yourself is to write down how much alcohol you drink every time you go out. This way, you will know your limits and will be able to refuse one more drink because you will realize that this will be one too much. 7. You constantly think about alcohol. It is a Friday morning, you are stuck in your office or at a boring meeting but you can't concentrate on work. The only thing you can think about is that in a few hours you will finally grab a bottle of beer or wine and all your worries will disappear. Unfortunately, this might mean that there is one thing you have to worry about, and this is your drinking problem. Alcohol is great if you need to relax after a long and difficult day, and there is nothing wrong with having a glass of wine when you come home from work. However, there should be other things occupying your mind, aside from alcohol. If the only reason why you are able to survive work and the rest of your responsibilities is the fantasy about having a drink as soon as everything is over, you might need to get professional help. 8. Alcohol has become your coping mechanism. It is a Friday morning, you are stuck in your office or at a boring meeting but you can't concentrate on work. The only thing you can think about is that in a few hours you will finally grab a bottle of beer or wine and all your worries will disappear. Unfortunately, this might mean that there is one thing you have to worry about, and this is your drinking problem. Alcohol is great if you need to relax after a long and difficult day, and there is nothing wrong with having a glass of wine when you come home from work. However, there should be other things occupying your mind, aside from alcohol. If the only reason why you are able to survive work and the rest of your responsibilities is the fantasy about having a drink as soon as everything is over, you might need to get professional help. 9. You lie about how much you drink. Imagine that you need to fill out a doctor's form, and one of the questions is asking you about how much alcohol you drink. Are you going to answer honestly? If you are going to put a smaller amount, this means that you are embarrassed to share how much you actually drink. This means that you do not only have a problem, but you are also aware of it. And if you yourself understand that you drink more than you feel comfortable admitting to other people, no other sign to tell you that something is wrong is needed. 10. Your loved ones are worried about you. People who care about you will probably notice that there is a problem earlier than you will. They might point it out to you and tell you that you should be careful and maybe seek help. Your friends and relatives will do that because they genuinely want to help you, not because they want to make fun of you or to show that they are better than you. This is why if they say that there is a problem, you should not be offended or frustrated. You should listen. Drinking too much is a big problem that is capable of harming your relationships with other people, changing your personality and what others think about you and of completely ruining your life. If you have searched for and read this list, this might be because you were curious about whether you or someone you know can relate to it. On its own, the fact that you are searching for signs of alcoholism is likely to be one of the signs that you have entered a danger zone. If after reading this you come to the conclusion that you or one of your friends or relatives has an alcohol problem, reach out and ask for help. There are many resources you can turn to, and you will find a solution. Remember that you do not have to go through this alone. Don't forget to subscribe. Please visit our website by clicking on the link below. New articles added weekly.